Hey y'all, welcome to the Honesty Circle, the safe space for heart to heart conversations rooted in faith, discussing mental health, navigating adulthood, and all the things in between. It's your host, Sierra Elise, and I hope you're taking care of not only your mental and spiritual, but your emotional and physical health so you can be your best self this week. Hey y'all, welcome back to the episode of the Honesty Circle. It's your host, Sierra Elise. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing great. Obviously you see my lovely co-host here, my lovely dog as he relaxes down. I hope you're having a great week, and I hope that you remember that God does love you. Today we are going to be talking about what I did on social media this year, or this summer. It was called the Say Yes Summer, and people were like, "What is this? What blah, 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 all this chatter." And now I'm gonna provide some context and give you guys the details as to what was going on. Why did I do this? What came from it? And some of the things that I heard since. Okay, so first of all, what was it? So really, this Say Yes Summer was genuinely for me to get out of my norm. I know how I typically run. I know how I typically am. And I wanted to steer away from that. I wanted to lean more into just new things I haven't done before. I wanted to lean into things I probably wanted to try but never have done. So this is just me leaning into new. And kind of what really was this about too is not just doing new with new people or doing new with people, but doing new within myself. Because I know for a fact that when it comes to doing new things with other people, I'm so down for it. Like I am like, oh, absolutely. A perfect example of this is movie options, right? I love romance or rom-com. If it's not those two genres, which is basically the same genre, obviously, because romance is the overarching, genre. If it's not that, the likelihood of me watching it is probably, by myself at least, is probably slim to none. It's that or sports or reality TV. Those are the things that I'm watching. If it's not that, I'm not watching it. But say if I am with a friend or my family, my sister's a great example. My sister liked Transformers growing up. She probably still does. I didn't necessarily like Transformers. Did I really watch some things by myself? No. But my sister wanted to watch it, and guess what? I'm a ride for mine. And so I was going to watch Transformers with her. And so I ended up really liking Transformers. And so it's like, why? That's like a perfect example is why do I typically only feel comfortable trying new things with other people? And so this was just me getting out of that and me trying to push my, like I said, my norm. And yeah, and so a big thing too was doing things, like I said, while doing things for myself. It didn't mean that I was doing it not with people, because like obviously I'll go through the list of all the things that I said yes to. They were things that I was doing with other people, but I made the choice to do it because I wanted to do it. Or even if I didn't necessarily want to do it, I made the decision that I was going to push myself out of what it is my everyday regular routine. I think especially because too, like when you become an adult, like your life can get so like, I don't want to say boring, but kind of boring. If you get in the routine, right? You get in the routine of you go to work, you go home, you do whatever your after work routine is, and then your weekends. Like it's nothing that's really always that exciting unless you force it to happen. And so this was also me forcing that to happen, because to me, also summer's a great time to try new things because it's hot outside. Who want to be in the house all day? Like, let's do some fun, So let's go through the list of things. And you can also check these out if you haven't seen on Instagram. Like I made a video for every single one of these. And I also have some things outside of that I said yes to that didn't make videos. But so the first one was joining a kickball league. Y'all, that was 10 out of 10. I will be doing that again. It was so fun. So how it worked was my job, we had two teams. It was like a community league, or like the city, I guess you could say. I don't know what to call it, county, whatever it was. And different like organizations had teams. And so like my job had two teams. And so it was super fun. And then it was across department. So while I did have a few people from my department on my team, there was also people that I didn't know on my team as well. And so that was super fun. And it was every Monday. And I went out there and I played kickball. Boy, I'm telling you, I don't know what it was. I think a big part of it too that I enjoyed it was like the athletic side of it, like, you're kicking, you're running, you're doing all of that. But then it was like a social element too, where you're laughing, you're cheering each other on. And then my team wasn't like awful, but we weren't the best either. And so I think that's also added another element or another layer to this, because I feel like let me see, how do I say this? When you are not the best at something, I think it brings people closer together. Especially when it's like not high stakes. Like, it's just a community game. Like, it is not big of a deal. But one thing we did go out there and do we went out there and had fun every single time. And that's all that counted. So that was number one. Number two was to get 10,000 steps in a day. So this is a challenge. Leah was like, oh, we should try to get 10,000 steps. I didn't continue it all the time, but that week I definitely did attempt to get 10,000 steps. And this was a little hard because, like, when you work a desk job, you got to get up and get the steps in. Or like, I walk Zeke, but like, that's just not nearly enough. And even like my typical path of which I walk Zeke, like, that's not going to give me 10,000 steps in a day, even adding that plus other things. So I just had to be very, very intentional in moving my body and walking and like parking farther back. And then like walking around the store a little bit longer. Like that, I was just trying everything I could to get extra steps in to get my 10,000. But I definitely did hit a few days, which was really cool. Another one was celebrating friends and trying a new restaurant. This doesn't technically fit the exact criteria of doing things by yourself, but I did try some new food, which was really good. And yeah, the next one, similarly, it was a Sunday fun day, girls' day with my girl Godwin. That one, I think my main thing for both of those weekends too was, I think it was making sure that because those were also like sacrifice. Like, I had to drive out it wasn't far, but over an hour to go to like do both of those things. And so I think a big part of that was just like not saying yes to like them, but saying yes intentionally to like putting myself and forcing myself to be around people I love and being in community, rather than just being like, oh, okay, like I live in this city. And I always say this all the time, like, I don't have as many like black friends. Like, I do have friends here, but I don't have as many black friends. And so all my black friends, I'd have to go drive to go see them. And yeah, so this was just me like saying yes, like, okay, push yourself out there, girl, get up, go over there, like, go drive the hour. It's not that big of a deal. So that was that. Another one was saying yes to myself. A big part of this too was really learning to like listen to what it is I am needing in a certain time in a certain season. Because I think a big part of like this one specifically, this day I was like really tired from my week, and I was just like, oh, like I just don't really want to do, and people wanted to do stuff. And I think like typically, like, because I'm the extrovert that I am, I'm always saying yes to hanging out with people. Like, there's never, unless I literally cannot do it, it's rare that I'm going to say like no. Yeah, like if it's like if it's really close friends, like I'm not really just gonna say no. And so that was me really needing to like listen to my body and listen to like, Sierra, you're tired, you need to relax, sit down on this couch, watch TV, go get a milkshake, like let's reel it in a little bit, and pour into yourself. Another one was new experiences. So I went to an NBA Summer League game, which that was super fun. Like I talked about this in last week's episode, I did a lot of traveling, so I did a lot of new things, new experiences. 10 out of 10, obviously. All of these are 10 out of 10. I'm gonna save the next one to last. Another one was saying yes to investing in myself. And so y'all know I started grad school, and I've had a desk, but I didn't have a chair. And so I was actually literally on this couch for a while until I got a desk chair, literally do my homework on this couch, and like my back would be hurting, my like neck would be hurting. I'm watching the TV all the time, and it just was like not conducive to a productive environment when I know that I have ADHD. And it's like, girl, you need to sit in a very controlled space. Sitting out here is not going to help you get your work done in a timely manner. So I had to really like, okay, Sierra, how can you invest in yourself and make that space like conducive for your work? So I got a desk chair, but I also got a monitor, which I'm really excited about, I'm obsessed with it because it really helps. It really just helps, I think, my productivity, because I have like that big desktop or like that big monitor look in my office at work. And so it kind of gets me into that like grind mindset, which is very helpful. It also just helps my eyes. So I'm not looking at the little tiny like laptop screen. So that's really nice. Yeah. So I had to invest in myself. It did cost, obviously it wasn't cheap, but it was something that I knew that I needed. And I was pushing off, especially the desk chair. I was pushing off that desk chair for so long. And it's like, girl, let's stop pushing it off. Like, you got to invest in yourself. You got to choose you. Like, let's stop spend all that money at Target and buy something that you know that you need for your own personal success. Like, come on, let's be for real. And the last one, this wasn't the last one that I posted, but this is the last one I want to say for last, because this one is the biggest one. This biggest one is saying yes to God. Y'all, boy, oh boy, when I tell you. And the funny thing is, I think one thing I learned in this too is like all of these, why it didn't seem like I was saying yes to God. It was saying yes to God because it was things that I feel like, not that they were all like super church, like, I mean, none of them are really churchy things, right? But I think a big part, and just even this Say Yes Summer, like God did that intentionally for it to build up the momentum to then saying yes to him in a new way. Like, I've said yes to him, like I've been saved, like that's not something that's new, right? Live for Christ. But I think like I kind of hinted on this in the past episode about like really leaning on him in a new way. And I don't think I really elaborated on that and like what that looked like for me. But I think I kind of like, if I could kind of create a visual of what this looks like, saying yes, God, in this new way, right? It's like I typically would be like, okay, God, what path do I walk down? And then I'm like, okay, let me think which one seems best. And I'm then making the decisions too. I would ask God to be like, hey, which one is best? But I then am making the, I guess, like decision at the end on my own. And so then it's like, oh God, I hope that was the right decision, like kind of after the fact. Like, okay, I talked to God about it in the beginning, but I didn't like incorporate him every step of the way in make whatever that decision was or whatever. And so it not that it was an afterthought, because I feel like every time when it comes to the decisions and like how's it going to work out, I'm like, God, right? But I think in this new way, it's really seeking God first. And I think that's the main thing. And because when I've chosen to seek God first and intentionally seek God first, it's allowed me to be so confident in the steps along the way, right? So if you think about it, like there's a pathway, there's two paths. And I'm like, oh my gosh, God, what end path do I pick? And I'm like looking at the end. And I pick this one because I see this in this inside, right? And so now I see this end and I'm scared to walk down this path because I saw the end and I made the choice off the end of what I could see, even though it probably isn't really the end because who actually knows the end, but on like what my thought of the end was going to be. And I'm choosing that one because of that, right? But now I'm walking on this path scared, right? I asked God which path and I felt like he was telling me this one, but now I'm scared because I didn't go back to him and like take the step with him. I made the decision with him, but I didn't take the steps with him. And so I think taking the steps with him has really, like, when I tell you, it's really changed a lot of things, because I feel like it's given me peace. So that way, like, as I'm walking down different steps, it's not like it's a fear thing, right? Like I have been like confident in every single step that has happened, because each step of the way I have considered him. A perfect example of this is, I wasn't going to talk about this at all, but here it goes. I'm going to talk about this on the mic. I told you guys how I got an apprenticeship last episode. This episode, I no longer am working that apprenticeship, and I'm not going to go into details about why I chose to step away, but prior to this conversation, I literally prayed and I asked God and I asked the Holy Spirit to guide me in the conversation and to allow me to articulate things in the way that I think that he wants me to. And obviously I know it happened because when I tell you the way the conversation went, I had planned out and wrote up things to say. I didn't even say what it is I had planned to say. And that's how I know it was the Holy Spirit who guided me in that conversation. And like I said, I made the decision to walk away from the apprenticeship. And after the fact, all the like thoughts of the negativity come in. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm a quitter. Like I don't like to quit things. Like was that the right decision? Like all these kind of negative thoughts started to come in. And I had to remind myself where it's like, we're not going to, you made the step with God. We're not going to go back on that fear now. Like I'm not going to now be like, oh my gosh, now I'm scared because I feel like I made the step without God. No, I made that step with God actively. He is the one who guided me into that one because I wouldn't have done that myself. And so I think that's a perfect example. And what things I have coming up next, I talked about a little bit how I'm like looking into freelancing and for social media management and stuff like that. And so with no longer doing the apprenticeship, I was like moving into freelance, and that also is scary. And like I've been so scared the entire like week. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've never ran a business before. Like if y'all know me, I ain't never ever wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like that has never been a thought in my mind. And what's really funny is I had a student, was it last year? It was like last year or like early on when she met me. No, it wasn't last year. It had to be like, yeah, maybe last year, whatever it was. If she hears this, she's going to know it's her. But I had this student tell me that she's like, I could really see you as an entrepreneur. I said, girl, bye. I literally said, girl, bye, because I have no intentions of ever wanting to do that ever in my life, because I like having someone to tell me what to do, and I just do it. I don't have to worry about the overarching plan of anything else. I don't have to worry about health insurance. I ain't got to worry about none of the little stuff like that. I ain't got to worry about my check being different every other week. It's going to be the same time because I'm a salary. It's going to be the same. It's going to be consistent. And that's what I like, consistency and reliability. And I just feel like in this saying yes to God, God's like, ha ha ha, you thought you knew what you wanted. You thought you knew what you was going to do. And now look at you, joke's on you. You're getting an MBA, which is in business, number one. And now I place in your heart that you should move into being a freelance. What? Like, this doesn't make sense. But when I tell you it started off with my yes with God in every step of the way, I would not be here right now telling you this story if it wasn't for me saying yes to God. I had no intention. If y'all can see my notes, I had not even written anything about talking about this apprenticeship at all, talking about freelance, because I was scared and I was nervous to even like talk about it. Cause I'm like, okay, you don't talk about your things before you get them, before you do them, because people go, no. And then I'm looking for you and like, girl, you didn't do what you said gonna do, all this stuff, blah, 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 all this chatter. But it's like, no, clearly this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, because I prayed before this episode is another example of God guiding me and the Holy Spirit, guiding me as to what I talk about and what I do in each step. And it is what it is. When I tell you, like, when I've chosen to each step ask him and talk to him about it. And I think that one thing that I assumed that it was going to make it easier. It don't make it easier. But what it does do is it gives me some level of peace and not as high level anxiety with every single step. I will say that. The steps are still hard. Like, it's still going to be difficult for me to move forward in these ventures that I have. But I mean, I got God though, so it is what it is. But yeah, so the funny thing about all of this, right? I go through this whole story all to say this. When I tell you the amount of times that this Say Yes Summer was confirmed by other people, I had at least 5 minimum separate people in different areas of my life that know me. So it's not just people like all the people from the same area that know me. It's like different people who are just seeing me do my Say Yes Summer. And I mean, I had someone saying the same thing of like God telling them to say yes to something. I had someone else talking about, moving to other new things that they were needing to try, or that they've been wanting to do and that they haven't been doing and now they are. So like, this Say Yes summer was bigger than just like me doing fun things. It was bigger than just like the cute aesthetic videos that I made every single time. Like it was a mindset shift. It was a heart posture shift. It was so like, it was way bigger than I think I could expected it to. Like when I go into the summer, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna have some fun, try some new things, do kickball, make cute videos and call it a day. But God really utilized that to teach me overall lesson of just saying yes to him and saying yes in every single step, seeking him in every single step. It makes it easier for every single step. And yeah, so that's what's really crazy. So like, when I tell you it was bigger than me, it was bigger than me. It was bigger than, like when I tell you, when I got so many people of saying just small things or just having conversations, people who maybe they didn't watch my video, but we're talking about something and it's coming up of like, wow, this is them saying yes. And like, it was just showing up in so many areas. And, it was just reminding me that like, it was bigger than just that. But it also allowed me to encourage those people too, who were struggling to say yes, to whatever it is like that, they were needing to say yes to or anything like that. So that's that. That was a lot. It was a great say yes summer. And this yeses don't stop now. So let's remember that like the yeses do not stop now just because the summer's over, y'all. We're going to still say yes to new things, new opportunities, things that push us out of our norm, things that are going to help shape, mold, and guide us in the ways in which we are supposed to be going. So yeah, that's it. C's 2 cents for this week is to think about something that you have been pushing away. I know we talk about this with excuses. This is going to be the same thing kind of as last week of, okay, now before it was just excuses. Now is the things that you were trying to avoid. That's the better word. Things that you were trying to avoid that you feel like you were drawn to, or that they just don't go away. You know what those things I'm talking about. I want you to, instead of pushing it away further, I want you to take those things to God. Take the things to God. Pray about it. And really seek him so that way he can give you guidance if that's something that you should be continuing to push away or something that you want, that you should be like moving into or moving forward with. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. You can take it or leave it, but I mean, I'm gonna give it anyways. So anyways, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Honesty Circle. If you like anything that you heard, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Yes, subscribe. You can follow us on Spotify. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. That's where you can find us. And follow us on Instagram at the Honesty Circle with an _ at the end to stay updated on Circle News. Thanks again so much for listening, and go conquer your week.